Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We're zooming in and focusing in on today's topic, and that is how to regain your personal space and feeling of empowerment after you've been involved or exposed or experienced toxic relationships. Toxic relationships are usually at the hands of those people who want to control, manipulate, and have power over other people. In other words, always be the center of attention. Yeah, it's always great when you meet somebody who's happy, jovial, fun, gregarious, they're charming, or they want to, they're very friendly. But it really turns sour when you realize that this person is a perpetual liar, that they have a perpetual bad side. In other words, they engage in blaming and smear campaign or insultory or derogatory behaviors designed to try to ruin your perspective, ruin your happiness, have you put on a frown, have you question and doubt yourself, and furthermore cause you dismay and distress by being sort of overwhelmed by their presence and really sort of derailed from your own gut instinct and your own intuition about how to naturally handle it. Sort of that natural coping mechanism gets disarmed when you're in the presence for some period of time with those people who are toxic, meaning overwhelming. They're trying to impress you with their power, their bullying, their smear campaign, their sort of one-upmanship over you, their behind your back tactics, as if you won't see or notice, and they're trying to drag you down and take you down with the worst of life. They're trying to drag you through the dirt, and it feels really horrible. It feels miserable when you're in the presence of people who try to feel better about themselves through being the center of attention and disrupting other people, meaning overwhelming their personal boundaries and their personal space. So people who have been exposed to these people and aren't familiar with their manipulative tactics, such as talking about you behind your back, the sort of relentless pathological lying or withholding of specific information. In other words, the people who, dilly-dally behind your back. They try to do subtle put-downs or overt put-downs when they think that you aren't going to notice, but it's, or that you're, too dumb to notice, or you're too ignorant, or whatever it is that they're thinking or insinuating or projecting, and you find out that this person is up to no good. This can really encroach and really feel like it's destroying your personal space. And when you get to this, when you're feeling very overwhelmed, afraid, fearful in the presence of this bully, you can find that it's very important to regain your sense of personal space and personal power and empowerment, and do a real check-in with your heart. And do a real check-in with your heart and explain to yourself and really develop that internal dialogue. Here's where that internal talk, that self-talk, becomes very important, that you tune in and register and turn up the volume. Really tune in to your inner voice, your inner conversation, your self-talk. There's a great book called What Do You Say When You Talk to Yourself out there. I don't recall the author. But really, when you're trying to make sense of and regain your personal power and your personal space after you've been exposed to this type of bullying narcissist or bullying psychopath, they're trying to overwhelm your personal space, your sense of empowerment, really your perspective that everything is okay. They try to set an alarm, make you feel fearful, afraid, that they know something more than you, that they are better than you, the good old one-upmanship, the good old smear campaign, the old talking about you behind your back. I mean, these are the immature tactics of someone who is trying to elevate themselves through disturbing and causing fear and stirring doubt and personal brainwashing and gaslighting towards other people. They're trying to mess with your perspective, not only about life, but about yourself, how you feel about yourself. So they can be very obstinate, meaning they are relentless in this. And so I get a lot of questions from people saying that this has been going on for a long period of time. These people can become very intense and very severe in their targeting and sort of focusing and scoping out of specific people. In other words, it's like a conquering, it's like a victory for them to take and disturb another people. So, so knowing this to be the case, that there's this person, there's going to be other people like this, whether you'll meet them in your future or not, it's important to know how you become resilient and protect yourself. And to also know that there's these types of people out there, and then how to deal with them constructively and efficiently, meaning right away. Even if this has gone on in your life, if you've been overwhelmed, intoxicated by their fear, taking their false accusations at face value, crumbling at their derogatory comments, whether it be about the way that you walk, how fast you are, how slow you are, the fact that you need time for yourself, or that you can't stay up that as late as them, you can't do the sort of activities that they do, that you're sort of, eventually feeling unheard and, not listened to and feel unrepresented in the relationship. These are all red flags, especially people who are narcissistic or psychopathic, who encroach on other people's space through being very sort of invasive in their body language, in the things that they say, derogatory statements, false accusations. It's more an aspect. What you need to understand is that when somebody who is narcissistic, psychopathic, has anger control problems, has reputation control problems, they're always trying to, look like the shining star. They're always trying to be the center of attention. They're just like vacuums to other people. They just seem to suck people. Sucking people meaning that they're always looking to other people's behavior or comments and always sort of taking from other people energetically and emotionally. So, in other words, always, breaking people down by either hurtful things that they do or say, minimizing or distressing you, making you feel like that you're ignorant, an imbecile, whatever it is that they're creating a feeling. They overwhelm people's personal space by creating a sense of meekness or weakness in another person. So they'll go after the most vulnerable, the sweetest, the kindest of people. And I noticed that my girl on the moon is falling over here. Let's get her back up. When you're feeling sort of that sort of encroaching on your personal space, and that's really when your personal sense of empowerment is being attacked. Your personal power and your personal space, in my viewpoint, go hand in hand. It's important to understand that it's not just physical space, but it's an emotional space. So we all have etheric energy that extends out 8 to 9 feet all around you. And this is, you've got electrical impulses running through your body. And these electrical impulses of clarity and proper focus are as attuned to the degree to which you tune into your heart, your gut. You are in alignment with your own peace, meaning you're able to perceive them not in a state of being threatened, but in a state of cool, calm, and indifference, in sort of an observing manner, an observing fashion where you're not disturbed. And what I would advise is you're not impressed by their threats, their ego stroking of themselves. These people are, just the ultimate self-promoters. I mean, the degree to which they preen and prod their own ego and ego stroke themselves will become vastly apparent when you really stay with these people. And a lot of people think that to get on in a relationship is to really sort of repress your own feelings and just be, survive, live on a survival basis and just always stroke this person's ego for them, always give, and they always take. But it becomes very distressing when it really starts to destroy and disrupt your personal power. As a human being, you literally have power. You have the power to create. I will examine this with you here on a small scale and then explain to you how this gets disturbed or disrupted, or for a lot of people, even destroyed once you're in a relationship with these damaging and destructive, toxic people. And this can be in your family, your workplace, your community, your neighborhood. It can be in your marriage. Now, when we talk about someone who is sort of condescending, there's this overriding of one's personal boundaries, your personal space. It's very important to understand that you need to erect and enforce personal boundaries, meaning my etheric energy, my emotional energy, my heart energy, which I need to tap into and live in and stay in. So getting a practice of this, being able to check into your heart and saying, whoa, wow, that hurt when this person tried to mimic me behind my back, thinking that I didn't know better, that I wouldn't notice, that they're whispering, that they're sort of triangulation, moving other people around, trying to talk bad about me, talk down about me. Usually it's because they're threatened by another person's presence, that you might redeem yourself, you might shine, you might be able to live your passion, and they, the narcissist and the psychopath, they're going to try to derail these type of people because it gives them a run for their money. In other words, if they have the biggest building in town and here you come along trying to build their building, well, they feel dwarfed and they feel threatened even when there is no threat. But they will scope and target people who are jockeying for, that energy space. Even if you're bringing accountability to them, even if you're bringing responsibility, even if you're catching them in their lies or catching them in their false accusations, they don't like to be challenged. The narcissist will seek to avoid and run away from and really, sort of target those people who keep them accountable to a feeling of truth or balance or having a two-way relationship. So to stop this oftentimes feels very lonely because for once you're not putting up with a one-directional relationship. The encroaching of your personal space is the encroaching of your self-esteem, your heart energy, your solar plexus, which is very powerful. As a human being, you literally have the power. You literally have the power to create. You literally have the power to manifest and realize your dreams. You are a tangent and extension of the Creator. That source divine energy, that divine intelligence, that Christ energy, whoever you call it, that is greater than human beings, believe it or not. Look around the globe. There are lots of things going on, weather, animals, crops, emotional awakening, revelations that are beyond just the man-made, beyond just the narcissist made, beyond the psychopathic made. And it is this power that oftentimes the narcissist tries to assert for themselves and create sort of an idolatry, if you will. In other words, they try to present as if they're the end all be all and that you and them can't coexist. In other words, they have to live by threat, fear, brainwashing. And this encroaches on your personal space, your solar plexus, and your self-esteem, which is your clear perspective, because it's a threat. So a threat to their sort of individual idolatry or being the best or being impressed or having, getting those ego strokes. In other words, it's very difficult to a narcissist or a psychopath mind to simultaneously stroke, their ego and also elevate or grow yourself personally. It's very difficult for that to coexist. So they will reduce other people through fear, through intimidation, through false accusation, through smear campaigns. So they get, they disturb that personal space. So it's important to understand that that's their tactic. So if you feel a target of that, realize that this is how these people operate. So it's not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them and then how they sort of take down their competition, which is other people. Okay, so if you are sort of around them and they're targeting you because of this, it's a way to derail you. So oftentimes people take their derailment personally and they take their grumpiness, their loudness, their lies at face value, and they think that this is a threat to me. Do not be impressed. Do not be impressed. Everything is going to be fine. You need to check in with your heart space and really get calm and really come to peace and really come to a sense of owning it. Really dial it in. Really come within. And as I mentioned, you literally have power. You have power to create. Think about that breakfast that you created, that magnificent meal that you created. Think about that little clay pot that you created as a youngster, that beautiful painting, that beautiful box that you built in your wood making class, that beautiful dish that you designed, that beautiful painting. Maybe you built something else for your home, a deck, a table, a chair, a box, a nightstand. You literally are creative. Maybe you created a piece of writing, a video. Okay, you literally have creative power. In your job, you are productive. You create results. Now, the narcissist is going to try to get you right underneath, a hook underneath the rib to get you in the gut, which is your I am, your solar plexus, where your personal power lives. So you need to extend out 8 to 9 feet and realize that your energetic space pushes out and you've got energetic impulses running through you. This is your physiology. So you need to feel this and own this creative power in your personal space. I have and own and care for my personal space and my passion and my truth. And so it is. I ignite my personal truth and my personal power, and so it is. And when you do this, when you say this, when you realize this and you own this and you do this in the privacy of this video, in the privacy of your car or on your walk or wherever it is, on your workout, or maybe you're just, on your couch watching, you really need to come into a state of peace. Even though in today's world it's all, how fast can you type? How fast can you Instagram? How fast can you post? Oftentimes the narcissist, this will be a target. You're so slow. You can't see this. They've got these big sausage fingers and they're trying to point at something, and there's 5 tabs there, and they're like, see, and they've got a big, it's like they've, can't you see what I'm pointing at? And their finger is pointing at 5 things, and then they're trying to fault you. You made the coffee too weak. You made the coffee too strong. You put the meat on the wrong side of the plate. You heaped the potato too big. You the way that you part your hair, the way that you sit. All sorts of things can be object for contention with a narcissist. They will go and sort of target that personal space, your heart energy, your I am energy, your I deserve energy, your I am a person of value energy, I'm a person of integrity energy. Because if they can take down another runner, they've just eased up their first place. Do you see how a narcissist will overperceive a situation, a psychopath will overperceive and oftentimes underestimate other people's personal power? So, the work you need to do is separate and individual and distinct from this other person. And to realize their tactics of trying to dismantle or take down your internal awareness of your personal power. Your personal power. Because if you have to be a constant force or a constant counterforce to their lying, you're always sort of taking the bait and you're always sort of on their string. So you need to cut the attachment, cut the string, cut the connection. Move it around. There ain't no hooks in your aura. You need to get the hooks, the energetic hooks out of that energetic etheric space and reclaim your place in the divine plan and realize that they cannot take ownership over your feelings. Only you can own what's behind your ribs. Only you can own what's behind your breastbone. Only you can own what's underneath your diaphragm. Only you can determine your I am. You are untouchable. When you really realize this, you need to get, you really realize this when you get in touch with and check in with your heart space and go, holy guacamole, this person is someone that I need to distance myself from and get some perspective on and to stay away from. And to get a sense of that distance and perspective and to stop being a counterforce to their force. In other words, the tit for tat, the tactics that they will go to to stay in front of you, to stay in your mind's eye. Doing strange things with the way that they park the car, the way that they position their phone, the strange things that they do with their body language to encroach upon you, the smear campaign that they will create, the fear that they will try to ripple through your veins, are all designed to take you down. Not today. I'm doing me today. I'm not doing the narcissist. I'm not doing the psychopath. I'm doing me. For a lot of people, this is a new challenge. But sparkle and shine you will. Make that your commitment. Make that your priority. Well, peace and harmony, I've never been important before. I've never been a priority before. I've never even been a priority to myself. In fact, I don't know the last time that I lived at peace. My life is a constant stress. Well, don't fall for the bait of today's society that everything is based on speed and quickness and how many computers you have in your car and how fast can you Instagram, how much can you tweet, how many followers do you have on your LinkedIn, all this sort of addiction to this engagement in these false judgments of how to define yourself. God does not define you by how many followers you have on your Instagram, your Facebook, your YouTube. God does not evaluate that. Do not allow yourself to be evaluated and judged by, especially that addiction that social media can create. That sort of, especially when the narcissist is using that to sort of fluff up their ego. Don't fall for it. Especially the younger people, I think, who have a really worse go at it, because so much of that fear is like, oh, did you see that picture first? Did you see that post first? And then you're having to be distracted from your own heart, and to think that you then learn to evaluate yourself based on how you jockey for position. Stop playing the game. No, thank you very much. Your heart has a design and a divine order of its own. And believe me, it'll take you to better places than the narcissist or the psychopath could ever take you. You need to know that and own it. Take it and run with it. Hit the ground running, knowing that, and to not be impressed, to reconstruct and reestablish your personal space. And check in and really dial it in with your heart center and go, man, this person is really trying to distract me, create self-doubt, cause me to, look at things in a way that I really am not comfortable. Oftentimes there might be a lack of integrity. In other words, to agree upon their put downs, either to yourself. Don't agree with their put downs. Don't agree with their babble, their narcissist babble, their smear campaign. Don't buy into it. Live in the solution. Stop stroking their ego, even if it's a negative ego. Stop propping up their ego in your mind. Be able to take them down emotionally. Meaning, you know what? They're not that important. I am more important. They're not that powerful. I am more powerful. I am not impressed. Oftentimes, in order to kind of survive in a relationship with a narcissist, you need to sort of, be impressed by them. There's this, I'm so impressed by, your job, or I'm so impressed by your income. I'm impressed by your car. I'm impressed by your talent, your jokes, your sense of humor, your cooking. Everything is better than, the one-upmanship, the grumpiness if, things don't go their way, so you have to go down with them. Don't buy into their charades, their shenanigans, their smear campaign. Do not be derailed. Hold your head up high and be able to reclaim your personal space and say, no, not today. I'm not going to buckle and falter. I'm not going to do that. Everything is going to be okay. And then you really do need to get and learn and practice and do and repeat this. You need to have some deliberate effort. This is for you. This is to reignite your personal power, which means reclaiming and reestablishing your corner of the universe. But you need to sort of get into an alignment within yourself and own it and really sort of get that brace yourself in that solar plexus and to say, I got this. Not today. I'm not falling for the traps. I'm not walking into the traps. I'm not taking this blindsided. I own my personal power. I am. I'm not impressed. I'm not worried. I'm not fearful. I know better. And I'm going to express this internally and express it externally. So the way to do this is to back down or back off these individuals. Stop giving them the eye contact. Stop giving them the big ear. Stop giving them the big heart. Stop giving them the big strokes. Stop it. Stop it. Learn a new habit. They're not, if you're giving, they're so big, their title, they're this, they've done that. Okay, great. And, okay, and what about you? You're the one who's important here. Your happiness, your fulfillment, your bliss, your peace, your growth, your personal power is what's important here. You're getting through this. You're moving forward is what it's all about. And igniting that spark and having that light and to say, I've got it. It's all about right here. And it's got to be about checking in with yourself and say, it's about me. And to stop giving them the eye contact. To stop, staying in touch with them. Begin to walk away and stop the stroke. Stop lying to yourself about them. That oftentimes is the hardest challenge, is to say, I'm going to stop, their perspective is an inaccurate and erroneous and flawed reflection of me, because it is. They don't know you. Oftentimes, it's such a one-sided relationship that you don't really even feel that they know you. They'll project their neediness onto others. What do you mean you don't read? What do you mean you don't watch the news? What do you mean you don't want to go to this movie? What do you mean you don't want to do these drugs? What do you mean you don't want to stay up this late? You don't want to go to this party? You don't want to hang around at this bar? What do you mean you don't want to do this job? What do you mean you don't want to take my abuse? Okay, you need to know better. You need to have a clean and clear break off from them and own your individuality, your originality, and your creative power. You literally have the power. It's time to wake up and acknowledge that and validate it. And to refresh this and reignite it, just remember for a moment some of the things that you have created, that you have done where things you've really had an achievement. Get into that mindset and own it and begin to move away and back off the narcissist. Do not give them what they're looking for. Don't play their games. No, thank you. Stop the texting, the eye contact, the talking about them in conversations. Begin to take action for yourself in moving another direction, what I call positive, orderly direction thinking. Taking that class, taking that workshop, taking that meditation, taking in your own activities, your own creative, your own creative desires, your own dream. Be able to embrace and own and embody your own dream and become that which you know you came here to be, and not live up to the conforming, erroneous, flawed criticism of the narcissist, or rather, don't live it down. Don't live it down. Stop that. It's a bad behavior. It's a bad habit. You might have learned it while you've been conditioned or programmed by a toxic individual. Learn that that is their tactic. Begin to stop and disown and dissolve and to say, no, thank you. I'm not allowing that to disrupt me today. I know better. I am better. I am not that. And don't go tit for tat. Don't engage with them. Begin to develop that internal self-talk and have that firmness and resolution of spirit and that free will, and begin to feel that little tingling of excitement within. Everything is going to be okay. Stay on focus with what you know to be right. Even if you've gone through a ton with this person, know that you do not need to cave in. You might need to make some adjustments and some changes. What are those? Write them down. Put them in your to-do list. Put them in your appointment book. If you aren't reinforcing and enforcing this for yourself, you need to step up your game on your accountability. Doing the meditation, doing the astromations, I am. Feeling your personal power, putting your hand on your gut. I've got this. I am strong. I am me and I am free. And I'm doing this in my own unique manner. Begin to own your greatness and only surround yourself with people who will reflect that back. Let the else go with the wind. Let it all else be carried away.